Hey guys, it's Madison and welcome to this video. This is a very spontaneous video idea. I decided, I think last night, spur of the moment, that I wanted to once again start making monthly kind of bingo cards for my language learning, kind of set goals for the month and kind of give a framework to work towards as the month progresses. So for the month of August 2025, I'm going to make a bingo card. I made these for the first 2 months of the year, well actually the first 3 months of the year, and I actually reported the results of January and February in my monthly recaps, and then March kind of fell apart into a disaster, so I did not end up showing the results because it was just not really even worth showing because my March became very busy and did not follow the trajectory that I had set out. So hopefully this month, August, will be more successful, but yeah, I'm gonna kind of just walk you through me setting my goals for this month and show you how I tend to do it. It's not that complicated, honestly. I just use a Google Doc when I'm just making it for myself at the beginning of the month, and then later, when I do make the monthly recaps, I make it look pretty and fancy with Canva, but the actual bingo that I'm looking at throughout the month is just this simple little table on Google Docs. So I guess I will record my screen as I'm doing this so that I can show you as I make the bingo card. Okay, I think I'm recording now. So yeah, as you can see, like I said, a very simple 5x5 table here on a Google Doc. Right now it's blank because I have not made my goals yet, but to show an example of a completed one or a completely filled out one, this is my bingo card from March that never got to see the light of day. So as you can see, it's color coded. Blue is Korean, red is Chinese, yellow is Japanese, and green is like other basically. And so I'm gonna go ahead and make one for August. I am going to have a theme for the month of August, and that is textbooks. I do not rely heavily on textbooks for my language learning, as you probably know if you follow my channel at all for any amount of time, but I do have several that are kind of been sitting on my shelf for quite a while that need some love. And so this month I'm going to make an effort to do a little bit more textbook stuff than I typically do. And so I'm gonna go ahead and fill in some squares around this board related to all the different textbooks that I want to work on for the month of August. Okay, so just finished putting in all of my goals for textbooks for the month of August. As you can see, it's quite a lot of squares, and they're all blue because they're all Korean. I don't have any Japanese textbooks or any Chinese textbooks, although actually there is that free online Japanese textbook that I guess I could add to this. Maybe I'll do that, add a few squares for that. Okay, so I did add 2 squares for doing a lesson in the Irodori textbook. A lesson is very short, so this should be doable in the month of August. But yeah, just to kind of give a little more detail about the Korean textbooks that I have on here. First of all is News in Korean. I've had that for so many years now, like literally before I ever even came to Korea, I had this textbook. So it's been a long time, and I have just been really bad at actually sitting down to go through it. A lot of the articles are not super difficult for me, but I still do tend to learn at least a few new vocab words in each article still, and so I think it is still of use for me. And so I think I have 8 little short news articles left in that textbook, so I can easily do that in the month of August. And I do really want to finish that textbook in particular because, again, I've had it for so many years and have not actually finished it, so I want to finally get it over with this month, which is why I only have 1 square where I have that all as one goal, if that makes sense, compared to like the Korean grammar and use ones where I have it split up into smaller little chunks. But Korean grammar and use is also a textbook that I've had for quite a long time. I'm going through the intermediate level of that right now. I do tend to know almost all of the grammar points in the book. However, again, I still do find a lot of utility in the book because it has this cool section where it will like compare similar grammar points and explain exactly what the different nuances are for them, where you can use both, where you can't use both, and the reasons why. And it has lots of practice exercises. And so even for things that I have studied before in the past and learned the nuances and forgotten, or just that I have a feeling for, but I'm not 100% confident on what exactly the difference is between them, it's nice to kind of actually have those charts and exercises to explain those things. And so I am hoping to go through a total of what is this, 10? 3, 4, 5? Yeah. I have 5 squares, which is 10 lessons. So hopefully I will go through 10 little grammar points throughout the course of August. But like you see, I did split it up into 5 different squares because even if I don't actually get to 10, I do want to be able to have little kind of markers along the way that I can mark off to kind of make progress and feel like I am achieving goals throughout the course of the month. And that way, even if I don't actually reach 10, I still can feel partially successful by marking off some squares. And then let's see what else is there. Reading textbook chapters. I have 2 reading textbooks that I bought almost 2 years ago at this point, and I have started one of them. I've gone through like 3 or 4-ish chapters perhaps, but it's been a while, and honestly, I want to do a little bit more of an in-depth study of these chapters. So I think I'm going to start over from the beginning and really make an effort to not only do the reading, but really delve into the vocab from the different topics and do all the exercises in the book. Because one of my big goals in Korean right now is to kind of expand my vocabulary beyond the words that I'm comfortable with using and actually make an effort to learn a wider variety of more advanced words in certain different niches or like jargon words for a certain topic. And since the book is topical and has readings about different topics, it does kind of allow me to have little mini deep dives on the different more advanced vocabulary than perhaps I am using currently that can be used to describe that topic. So I have 1, 2, 3 chapters, which isn't a ton, but again, since I am going to be doing a more in-depth study of these things, it will take probably multiple hours to go through even just one chapter, which might take a few different sessions over a few days, and so I'm not going to push it and have too many. Honestly, even just 1 or 2 I'll be happy with getting through. I would love to do even more than 3, like 4, 5, 6 throughout the month, but yeah, in the past I pushed these goals way too far and then I feel like a failure at the end, so I'm trying to set small goals. If I overcome them by a lot, of course that's great, but at the very least I'd hope to do a few throughout the course of August. And then what else is there? There's 2 more textbooks for Korean that I have that I do want to hopefully touch at some point in the month. The first one is this vocab textbook that I have that I got a few years ago when I was studying for the topic. I kind of regret buying it because in general, I think that learning vocab through what essentially is a fancy version of a list of words and their meanings and example sentences is not the best way to learn vocab, but I do have it. And especially at the end of the book, there's like different like expressions and idioms in the book as well. So at the very least, maybe look at one of those sections just to kind of learn something new. So just pick it up and use it at least once this month is my goal. And same thing for the speaking textbook that I have. I have a topic speaking exam textbook that I have not touched since I took the speaking exam. What is that, like 2.5 years ago now? It's been a while. And so I do want to perhaps use that just to practice some speaking this month as well. But again, obviously, these 2 books, the vocab one and the speaking book, are not my current priorities, so they don't make a huge presence on this chart. All right, so that's it for my kind of themed activities. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a few kind of easy to accomplish / fun activities and see how it's looking after that. All right, so I just added a couple of fun activities. 3 of them are dramas for my 3 different languages, or a TV show for Japanese, since I tend to struggle to find shows that I enjoy in Japanese in particular. And then also added this one about reading 50 episodes of webtoons. That might sound like a lot, but these days I'm reading quite a lot of webtoons on the subway, and so I think it'll be very easy for me to read at least 50, if not over 100 throughout the course of August. And so I've added that, and now I have 8 empty squares left. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in with some drawing goals, probably some more Mandarin goals as well. As you can see, I only have 1 Mandarin goal right now, which is a little bit sad. And then some other languagey or other habit goals that I have for the month. Okay, so finally got all the squares filled in. Let's see, what have I not mentioned so far? I did add 2 other Mandarin tasks, which are finishing Do Chinese stories. I'm currently trying to finish up all of the intermediate stories that I can move on to the upper intermediate stories. I could, in theory, just move on without finishing them, but I do like the completionist kind of idea of finishing all of the ones in intermediate and just feeling that kind of satisfaction of having them all read. I have read some upper intermediate ones anyways, but I am still learning some vocab from the intermediate ones, and so I do want to read hopefully 2 stories throughout the course of August, and then then what else is there? Oh yeah, for Korean, I did add 2 goals of reading a book. I am woefully behind on my goal to read, 25 books in the year 2025, but hopefully I can at least make a not terrible showing by picking up the speed in the second half of the year. So I'm hoping to read 2 books at least in Korean. Fingers crossed, we'll see how much I actually end up reading throughout the course of the month. And the rest of the goals are all green, which means they're not tied to one certain language or languages at all. The first one being to review LingoPie. I believe this was also on my January and February bingo cards as well, but I did not accomplish it, and so I'm hoping to do it this month. I did very briefly try the free trial of LingoPie last year, early in the year in February, I believe. Was not super impressed, but it has been a year and a half since then basically, and I am curious if they fixed any of the issues because a lot of the languages I study are more new on that platform, so I'm curious to see if it's gotten better since I first kind of very, very slightly explored it a year and a half ago. The next one is to stretch over half the days of the month. As I mentioned in a recent video, I've really been trying to get into stretching and have been pretty successful since I set it as part of my routine in June. And so I'm hoping to continue that success. The past week, I've kind of fallen off my consistent habit, just doing it a little bit less than I had been previously. So I'm hoping to get back on that train and be pretty consistent with that because I do really want to be more flexible than I am currently. And the other 2 are to draw for 3 days. So hopefully at least 6 days out of the entire month. It sounds easy to accomplish, but honestly, with my track record, that will be difficult to get to if my past performance is any indicator of how this month will go. But that is it for my goals for the month of August. Honestly, I never really expect to actually get a full blackout on these kinds of bingo cards. I know that there's gonna be at least, probably 4 or 5 or 10 goals that I don't actually get to, but it is fun to kind of envision my month ahead and what I hoped to accomplish and hopefully use this as kind of my guide for the month and hopefully accomplish as many as I possibly can throughout the next 31 days. Like I mentioned, I do have around 2 weeks of vacation before I jump into the busy back to school period. So hopefully I can squeeze as much into the first half of this month as possible. At the same time, I do know that when I have vacations, I do like to have a few days where I can just be a blob and not feel guilty and not have to worry about accomplishing a bunch of stuff and productivity and all that stuff. So amidst my blob vacation days, hopefully I can sprinkle some language learning and productivity in here and there when I have some energy and motivation. And hopefully I can get a few bingos. If not, if all the stars align and my motivation is really strong this month, possibly even a blackout. But you shall have to check back with me at the end of the month to see if I actually succeed in accomplishing some or all of these goals. But that is it for this kind of quick, simple video. I will see you guys in the next one. And until then, annyeong.